Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking Liverpool's huge team selection for their Premier League match against Fulham back on January 4th, 2026. Now this was way more than just another game. The starting 11 for this match, it really tells a story of a team in a fierce battle for a top four spot, grappling with some major injuries, and a manager making some seriously bold calls. So let's get into it. This one phrase from The Guardian, it just perfectly captures everything, doesn't it? It points to a team that is navigating just immense pressure. And on this particular Sunday in London, their lineup revealed a really fascinating chapter in that ongoing fight. Okay, so first things first, let's set the scene around this high-stakes game at Craven Cottage. Why exactly did this one match matter so much? Well, the mission was crystal clear. No two ways about it. You've got rivals like Arsenal and Manchester City starting to pull away at the top of the table, so that race for a Champions League spot was getting incredibly tight. For manager Arne Slot's side, basically every single match had become a must-win. And yeah, this was no walk in the park. Liverpool were right in the thick of a super congested winter schedule, and that's a period that really tests the limits of any squad. On top of that, Craven Cottage is famously a tough place to go and get a result. So this was a massive test of both their stamina and their strategy. All right, so now let's dig into the specific challenges the manager was staring down when he sat down to pick this team. Because it wasn't just about the opponent. There were some serious internal pressures at play too. And here was the biggest headache of them all. The team was missing two of its main strikers. You have the record-signing Alexander Isak out long-term with a fractured fibula, and Hugo Ekitike was sidelined with a hamstring issue. I mean, this forces a complete rethink of your entire attack. But here's where it gets really interesting. Despite those huge injury problems up front, Liverpool actually walked into this match on a 7-game unbeaten run. So, on the surface you'd think, hey, things are looking pretty good, right? Well, not quite. That unbeaten streak, it didn't tell the whole story. Recent draws like the one against Leeds showed that the team was really struggling to turn all their possession and dominance into actual goals, and more importantly, into wins. They had to find that killer instinct, and they needed it yesterday. So you've got this complex puzzle, right? Injuries, fixture pileup, a desperate need for a clinical edge. How did Arne Slot respond to all of this on his team sheet? His answer? 3 key, very calculated changes to the starting 11 that had played in the previous match. And you can really see the logic here. Each player was brought in to solve a very specific problem. Cody Gakpo was in for that attacking thrust, Milos Kerkez to bring creativity from that left flank, and then you have the World Cup winner Alexis McAllister brought in to just control everything. His composure on the ball was seen as absolutely essential to dictating the tempo from the middle of the park. And here it is, the full lineup, set up in a 4-4-2 formation. Just take a look at it. You can see that rock-solid experienced partnership of Van Dijk and Konate at the back, there to provide stability. Then you've got that super creative and technical midfield 4, and up top, that brand-new forward partnership of Wirtz and Gakpo. This team was put together specifically to overcome both Fulham and Liverpool's own struggles. So we've seen the players. But how were they supposed to work together on the pitch? What was the actual master plan here? Well, the game plan really boiled down to a pretty clear 3-part strategy. First, take control of the midfield. Second, create chances from out wide. And third, and this is key, execute a very specific pressing structure. Now, this pressing structure, it's actually pretty fascinating. See, instead of a traditional striker holding up the ball, Slot used the clever movement of Gakpo and Wirtz to constantly pull Fulham's defenders out of position. The whole idea was to turn the lack of a main striker into a tactical advantage by creating these little pockets of space for that powerful midfield to run into. So what this all really shows is Liverpool's tactical flexibility. They were aiming for this sophisticated balance, right? Controlling the game when they had the ball, but also being ready to just launch these quick, deadly attacks the second they want it back. It's all about being adaptable. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. What does this one team sheet for this one game tell us about Liverpool's bigger ambitions and their strategy for the rest of the whole season? Well, these choices reveal a strategy that's all about resilience and depth. It shows you a manager who's flexible with his tactics, who gets that you have to rotate your squad to survive the marathon of a season, and who's building team spirit by trusting different players to step up. And in a race this tight, every single one of those decisions is crucial. And sometimes it's the smallest details that tell you the most. Even something as simple as having a versatile defender like Joe Gomez back on the substitutes bench was a massive boost. It just shows how every single piece of the puzzle, from the starters to the reserves, was being carefully managed for the long campaign ahead. And so that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? This lineup at Fulham is the perfect snapshot of the whole challenge facing Liverpool. It shows a team that's smart, that's resourceful, that's adaptable. But is all of that going to be enough to turn what they call a constant battle into a triumphant top four finish? Only time will tell.